Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another Family Ties production. Tonight we're coming to you live from Brady Street Stadium, where the Davenport Assumption Knights will put their 2-0 record on the line against the 2-0 Burlington Greyhounds. My name is Pete Ivanek. My co-host tonight is Jeff Manders. Jeff, we're about ready for the coin flip here.
Well, what we have here, Pete, is two contenders, one a perennial conference contender, Assumption, and Burlington, which I guess if there was somewhat of a surprise team in the MAC this year, it would be Burlington, opening up with 2 wins, one over West High and then also over North High. 2 impressive wins, I might add.
And it's the same old story for the Assumption Knights. Run the ball, run it in between the tackles. This year's big man is number 43, Lee Russell. What do you know about him, Jeff?
Well, Lee Russell's been around for about 3 years now, and MAC coaches are looking forward to that guy graduating eventually. But he's going to be the workhorse for the Assumption Knights tonight. And when the Knights get in a pinch, when they need 2-3 yards, 3rd down, 4th down, they're going to be probably giving it to Lee Russell. Burlington, on the other hand, comes in with a little different type of offense, more of a throwing type offense that features the passing of quarterback Jesse Halen to receivers like Jeff Brockett and his brother Jason Halen. And the first 2 games, they've really opened up their offense and really aired the ball out.
Looks like we're ready for the opening kickoff. Back deep for the Knights, I believe, was number 4. Set to kick it off for the Greyhounds, I believe was number 84, Jason Hayland.
Might add that Assumption has 4 players suiting up for the first time tonight, back from somewhat of a disciplinary suspension, and those 4 are going to make a difference in tonight's game.
As Hayland's kick is a wobbly one, it rolls into the end zone, and the Knights will take over from their own 20-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 for Assumption on the game's opening drive. This year the Knights are quarterbacked by number 16, Luke Carney. They run an option-based offense that mostly is run in between the tackles. They keep everything tight, and they usually use a wingman or 2.
Well, they'll come with the wing T formation, also with double slots, and look for not only a power game, but also a lot of misdirection football coming out of the wing T formation.
Lee Russell is your lone fullback. 2 wings on the play for Assumption as Schroeder goes in motion. The handoff is to Russell. He's off the left tackle. He gets a nice healthy gain across the 25-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and about 4, we'll call it, for the Knights.
And, you know, Burlington's going to have an opportunity to prove right away whether they can play defense against the Knights. And, you know, we've seen the Burlington defensive play, and they've been somewhat impressive this year. In past years, though, sometimes that's been their problem. And if there's a question coming up right here early is, can Burlington play defense? Can they stop the Knights?
Looks like we're about to find out, as the handoff looks like it goes to number 4, Ben Schroeder, and Schroeder is close to the 1st down marker. The ball is rested on the Assumption 29-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 1 for the Knights, and here's that early test we were talking about.
Coach Kazmarek going back this year to Sinan in his place. In past years, he used the shuttle service with messengers. But this year, he's gone to a ploy that he used several years ago.
Double tight, double wing back. The handoff up the middle to Mr. Russell. Lee Russell's 2nd carry of the ball game gets Assumption the game's first down. It'll be 1st and 10 for Assumption with the ball on their own 31-yard line. 10:44 to play in the 1st quarter. Your score, Assumption 0, Burlington 0. As Carney breaks huddle, double tight formation. And the pitch goes to Schroeder. Schroeder breaks a tackle, but is dragged down on the play by a host of Burlington defenders.
What you're going to see from Burlington tonight, as you saw in the last play, is you're going to see 9 defenders up near the line of scrimmage. 2 secondary players playing a two deep secondary, and they're going to be up there trying to stop that Assumption running game, because that's the number 1 thing you got to stop with Assumption.
It's basically putting everybody as close to the line of scrimmage as possible. Double wing formation. Lee Russell is the lone running back for the Knights. And it looks like number 79 of Assumption jumps off sides. That's Elliot Schwind, one of the Knights captains. That'll cost Assumption 5 yards. It'll be second down and about 12 for the Knights. Most teams, this might be a passing situation.
Yeah.
Not so for the Knights.
Not necessarily, not on second down. But you're going to see, once again, Burlington up on the line of scrimmage. A lot of people up there crowding the line of scrimmage.
As Kearney's handoff once again up the middle to Lee Russell. We're going to be calling his name an awful lot tonight.
And now here's your passing situation, Pete, with about a third and about 9, almost 8 coming up here.
We'll see what Coach Kaz has up his sleeve as Kearney is in the huddle.
Well, look for some type of play action pass. Very easy to do off the wing tee action, and some type of flood pattern coming out with more than one receiver in the flats and deep areas.
Kearney under center barks out the call. It's a bootleg to the far side of the field. The pass is incomplete on the play. The intended receiver was Lee Russell coming from his fullback position. And that'll force the Knights into a fourth down punting situation. So the Burlington defense doesn't do bad on its first test of the night. The Knights did pick up a first down.
But very, very good, impressive defensive stance by Burlington that time.
And the penalty certainly didn't help.
Yeah, penalties always shoot you in the foot. But on the last pass play, good coverage by the Burlington defense.
And some little switcheroo by Assumption as the punter Lee Russell gets a booming punt off. That'll be over the head of number 21 for Burlington, Donnie Peterson. He picks it up anyways and is dragged down on the play by number 81 of the Knights. That's John Furry. Some excellent special teams by the Knights, a good high deep punt, and some great coverage. Donnie Peterson of Burlington just couldn't do anything on the return. It'll be 1st and 10 for Burlington. There is 8:46 to play in the first period. The ball will be spotted on the Burlington 15-yard line, and we have no score. Burlington's quarterback, number 12, Jesse Hayland, is lined up in the shotgun formation for the Greyhounds. And he looks for number 84, his brother, Jason Hayland. The pass is complete on the play for a gain of about 6 yards. It'll be second down and 4 for the Greyhounds, not wasting any time whatsoever, putting the ball in the air.
Well, that's the Hayland to Hayland combination there that we've seen in the past. We've also seen this year from MAC teams the show with the shotgun formation, which historically you don't see a whole lot on this side of the river, but this year you're seeing more than just one team in the MAC throwing the shotgun with not only Burlington but also Bettendorf going into shotgun formation on occasion.
Hayland once again in the shotgun formation. This time his pass sails over the head of Karis Sirik, a running back.
Another reason why we're going to see Burlington throw the football. Assumption plays what we call an 8-man front, where they crowd eight defenders up on the line of scrimmage, and they might play it better than any team in the MAC conference. Burlington's going to come out with multiple type sets, and that time a trips formation. I'm going to try to spread those defenders off and get them to back off the line of scrimmage. Once they establish that passing game, then look for them to come back and run their wing tee offense.
3rd down and 4 for the Greyhounds. This time Hayland under center. Pro formation for Burlington. The handoff goes to look like number 40 on the play, Chris Lyons. And if Burlington has any kind of a running game tonight, it might have to come from Lyons.
Well, they run that lead play with amazing success, and they're going to mix both run and pass in there, and that was a good defensive test by the Assumption Knights.
Lyons was short on the 3rd down play. That'll leave Burlington with a 4th and 2. Number 84, Jason Hayland, into punt for Burlington. Back deep for Assumption looks like number 4, Ben Schroeder. And Hayland's kick is a wobbly one. Schroeder has some problems, but fields it on top. And Assumption It'll be 1st and 10 for Assumption with the ball on their own 47-yard line. No score in the ball game. 7-9 play in the first quarter. Assumption is starting their second series of the game. Luke Carney drops under center in the I formation, hands off. It looked like to Lee Russell, the big fullback.
And it's tough going up there.
Makes it very hard to block everybody.
And we've seen Assumption, but historically the Russell kid, you know, as big as he is, tough to bring down, and he's been known to drag and pull away from tackles very easily.
It'll be 2nd down and 10 for the Knights. As Carney barks out the signals, once again hands it off to Lee Russell. Russell plunges forward for a pickup of 4 or 5 yards on the play. It'll be a big 3rd down.
His receiver.
Split backs, the wingman's number 5, Joe Bradley. Carney hands off on the play to Russell. Russell is close to the 1st down, brought down on the play by number. Gee, Coach, I wonder who they'll give it to. Is the fullback. Expect him to get the ball, number 5, the wingback, Joe Bradley. And no, the pitch goes to the halfback, number 4, Ben Schroeder. And he has enough for the 1st down.
Well, that time they dove Russell into the line and just to get a little pitch to Schroeder, and then had the Burlington defense fooled enough to make the 1st down.
1st and 10 for the Knights. The ball is on the Burlington 40-yard line. 5.5 minutes left to play in the first quarter. Your score, Assumption 0, Burlington 0.
Yeah, Burlington, I tell you though, is making the Knights earn their yardage here. Good field position for the Knights on this drive. Enabled the Knights to be able to go for it on 4th down.
I formation, double tight end to the far side of the field. As the pitch goes to the far side of the field to Russell. But Burlington's linebacker, number 51, Brandon Whittlesey, breaks through to make a tackle.
That time Whittlesey was on a stun inside and just kind of came up and blew the inside A gap and actually bounced off Russell, but slowed him up enough for the pursuit to make the tackle.
It looked like Assumption on that last play overstacked the line on the far side using 2 tight ends and a wingman. But this time they'll go to a conventional double tight, double wing set. The handoff to the fullback, Russell. He is met at the line of scrimmage. He's met at the line of scrimmage hard and picks up just a few inches, it looked like.
Well, Burlington is more or less just daring the Knights to throw the ball at this point. They're crowding the line of scrimmage with so many people that the play-action pass at the right opportunity is going to be dangerous for them.
3rd and long for the Knights. Double wing back, double tight end. Russell is your lone fullback. It looked like they were going back to the bootleg / waggle play. As Carney looked to be rolling out to the far side of the field. The tight end was running a flag route. And it looks like Russell, the fullback, would have gone again into the flat, but that was negated due to an offsides call against the Knights. That'll take them back 5 yards. It'll be 3rd down and 15 for Assumption. Third down and long for the Knights. Carney under center. And this time the handoff on the misdirection play goes to number 4, Ben Schroeder. And he's met at the line of scrimmage. It'll be 4th down and long for Assumption, and it looks like the punting unit is in. And once again, Burlington holds.
Yeah, another good defensive stand by the Greyhounds. And they're selling out on defense. They're coming with linebackers inside, firing inside. They're putting 9, 10 people up on the front of the ball. And Assumption goes into their shift with...
As Russell, the punter, gets off another booming kick, fielded at the 4-yard line by number 21, Donnie Peterson. Peterson is up the sidelines, met and brought out of bounds by the Knights' number 59. That's Sonny Alvarez. Pretty good return on the play by Peterson, although he might have made one mistake on the play. Fielding it inside of the 20-yard line. You usually want to let those roll into the end zone.
Well, right now with the ball being at the 30-yard line, he probably made a good decision there.
Probably did.
And the key is he fielded it clean there. The coverage wasn't probably as good as for Assumption that time, although Russell might have outkicked his coverage a little bit on that one.
2:59 to play in the first quarter. We have no score. It's Burlington against Davenport Assumption. Burlington's second possession of the game. Quarterback Jesse Halen's pass intended for number 84, Jason Halen, falls incomplete.
Number 21, Matt Furlong, on the coverage had pretty tight coverage on that little quick slant pattern that they ran. Burlington likes to throw the football, and you know, they're a little bit away from their goal line here. They got a position where they can throw the football at this point.
And it looks like we have an official down on the play.
Early season cramp?
It looks to be an early season cramp. I believe that's the back judge.
He's kind of hobbling around there.
And there might have been a penalty flag on the play.
Looks like they're going to consult a Burlington trainer on the far side.
He looks like that referee is in quite a bit of pain, just a cramp. And it looks like we're ready for our first break of the evening. You're watching a Family Ties production. And we're just about ready for action. The back judge walked off the field. Looks like he had a bad cramp, so we're playing with one less zebra. Highland under center. He gives the ball off to number 4, Karis Cyrick.
And that time Assumption just guessed wrong. Coming in with the blitz with blitzing the middle linebacker, just Russell ran right past the ball carrier. Assumption just popped it to the outside and picked up a good gain and a first down. And that was our first official loss for the season, or at least loss for a game this season. He's over on the far side getting some type of first aid or treatment by the Burlington trainer.
Twin receivers split out to the far side of the field. Stand-up tight end is used by Burlington. The handoff on the shotgun formation goes to number 27, Trent Cooperman.
And just too much penetration by the Assumption red shirts for that draw to work.
Joe Bradley in on the stop for the Knights. It'll be second down and about 14 for the Greyhounds. Highland once again in the shotgun formation for Burlington. He has trouble with the snap, but eludes a couple of defenders before he is met hard by number 43, Lee Russell, for the Knights.
That play was just kind of doomed from the start. Highland never did get the snap from center, and he bobbled it up, and then he kind of panicked. Ben Schroeder was in there, and then Russell just drilled him when he reached the line of scrimmage. Going to bring up a third down and about 12, and this is going to be another passing down for the Greyhounds.
Highland under center. He'll hand the ball off on the little misdirection play to Chris Lyons.
And run the little inside trap to the running back that time. Gained about 3-4 yards. This time it's going to bring up a fourth down and punting situation.
Number 4 back deep for the Knights. That's Ben Schrader. And into punt for the Greyhounds, number 84, Jason Highland. Kind of a defensive struggle tonight at Brady Street Stadium. Both teams are undefeated at 2-0. And
officials timeout now.
Officials timeout. Looks like we could have an equipment problem. As the clock resumes, we are under a minute to play in the first quarter. Highland back to punt for the Greyhounds. There's the snap and the kick. It is almost blocked by the Knights. It's a short kick. And Schrader elects not to catch it. The ball will roll out of bounds at the Knights' 25-yard line, where it'll be 1st and 10 for Assumption. At their own 25-yard line, 29 seconds to go in the first quarter.
And that time the Knights were coming for block the punt at that point. Got about a foot away from it, and Burlington punter just got it off. But Burlington employs that tight punt formation at this point. You see a lot of this more in the MAC conference. And that enables you to get a lot of people, the defense, a lot of people up crowding the line of scrimmage and come for the block.
Double wing formation for the Knights. Carney back to pass. He's going to be sacked on the play.
It looked like he kind of stumbled or tripped over one of his own, either his own feet or one of his linemen's feet.
Not the smoothest play that you'll see the Knights run, having some difficulty in the backfield.
Well, they're trying to take advantage of that Burlington alignment with those people all stacked up on the line of scrimmage. And that time was just a miscue and brings up a second and very long.
And that'll do it for the first quarter of action tonight at newly refurbished Brady Street Stadium. Your score after one, Davenport Assumption 0, Burlington 0. Back for the second quarter of action at Brady Street Stadium. Davenport Assumption and Burlington are scoreless. Thanks for joining us tonight on a Family Ties Productions. My name's Pete Ivanek. My co-host tonight is Jeff Manders. As the Knights on a 2nd and 16 look to throw the ball, Carney ducks it under and picks up what he can, as we have 2 Greyhounds down on the play. 3 Greyhounds getting up rather gingerly.
Carney did a nice job just to get away from the rush that time. The play action pass really didn't fool a whole lot of people, and Carney had immediately pressured and had to pull the ball down. Just got a little bit past the line of scrimmage. Did a really good job just to get the ball back to the line of scrimmage.
That'll leave the Knights with a 3rd down and about 12, with the ball resting on their own, I think it's around the 24-yard line. And it looks like it's time for another break, and I think we'll take one too. Back to live action. It'll be 3rd down and long for the Knights. The ball is at their own 23-yard line. I formation for the Knights. The quick pitch up the middle goes to Lee Russell. Russell barrels his way forward, gets back across the original line of scrimmage.
Yeah, pretty conservative play select calling by Coach Kazmierek that time. 3rd and long, and line up in the I formation, double tight, and run the dive or the pitch to Russell. This is going to give Burlington, the Greyhounds, good field position after this punt.
As Burlington doesn't have anybody back deep, and now they do, switching with Assumption, as Assumption pulls their little Hayden Fry chickarenery. As Russell's punt rolls dead just across the 35-yard line of Burlington. That's where the Greyhounds will take over. 1st and 10 from their own 34-yard line. Well, Coach, we've seen a interesting first quarter.
Seeing a lot of defense at this
ruled
point.
by defense. 10:57 to play until halftime. Here's score: Burlington 0, Davenport Assumption 0. As quarterback Jesse Highland brings his Greyhounds to the line of scrimmage, split backs, wingman to the far side of the field. Highland is back, and his pass is broken up on the play by the Knights' number 6, Pete Stupoulis.
Good job by Pete Stupoulis. Stupoulis. Okay, I was wrestling with that name. Stupoulis. Good job by Pete, though, to get his hands up and knock that pass down.
Stupoulis is a 6'1", 200-pound defensive lineman. He's a senior for the Knights. And that'll lead Burlington into a second and long situation. Split backs. Wingman in motion. That's number 4. The handoff goes to the wingman. That's Karis Surik, his 3rd carry of the ball game.
And that's a long time Burlington play. We used to call that down, down, and around when they used to run that slot in motion. They double down on the tackle, kick out with the defensive end with the lead back, and the running back comes down and around. And that's a long time Burlington play, and we were somewhat successful in that play, picking up about 5 yards.
3rd down and 6 for the Greyhounds. Highland in shotgun formation, split backs. And he looks to one side, turns away, looks to the other. He's flushed out of the pocket, has enough for a 1st down. 15-yard gain for Highland, flushed out of the pocket, nobody open.
And he's showing he's got a little speed there, Pete.
Not a bad play by the 6', 180-pound quarterback. He's a senior for Burlington. And that'll move the ball for the first time tonight for Burlington into Assumption territory. The ball is resting on the Assumption 47-yard line. As Highland brings the Greyhounds to the line of scrimmage, split backs. He drops back to pass into the flat. The pass is intended for number 82, Jeff Brockett.
Good coverage on the quick out that time with number 2, Scott Gullickson. He was all over that, and really no way that that pass could have been completed. But Burlington really airing it up here in the first half, and showing a big tendency here to establish a passing game.
And it's not like their running game hasn't been working.
Well, they're still jousting with the Assumption defense at this point. You know, these teams are still trying to find out what works.
I formation, and the quick pitch goes to the halfback. That's, I believe, was number 40, Chris Lyons. Lyons is met hard by a couple of Assumption Knight defenders. Lyons picks up a couple of yards on the play.
And a really good block by number 27 for Burlington, Trent Cooperman. Just come back, and he just leveled the Assumption defensive back.
It'll be 3rd down and 6 for the Greyhounds. The ball is on the Assumption 43-yard line. There is 8 minutes to play until halftime. Split backs for Highland. He drops back to pass once again. Heavy rush from the Knights. And we have a penalty flag on the play. The pass was intended for number 80, Brian Furr, and it looks like he tangled legs with the Knights' number 17, Matt Fitzpatrick. And side judge on the far side of the field calls pass interference against the Knights.
Yeah, they were in man coverage at that time. Assumption came with the stunt with Russell, the middle linebacker, coming on the inside. It was picked up by Burlington, and then on the perimeter there, Fitzpatrick just got his legs tangled, and it was unfortunate for Assumption, but it was the right call by the referee.
That'll move the ball further into Assumption territory. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Greyhounds with the ball at the Assumption 28-yard line.
And this is really the first deep penetration by the Burlington Greyhounds on the Assumption defense. It's an impressive looking drive, helped out with penalties, however.
Highland in shotgun formation, 2 receivers to the far side of the field, split backs. The snap, penalty flags quickly on the plate. It's the bench and go. His receiver looked to be number 82, Jeff Brockett, on the play, I believe.
Yeah, good up and out pattern. Out and up, I mean, with Brockett. It was a ball that was perfectly thrown. But I think it's going to come back. I think we got holding on the Greyhounds.
And that was an awful quick call by the referee.
Please, we ask that the whistle stop being blown in the stand. Quit blowing the whistles in the stand. Thank you.
Well, we got several referees
They
tonight.
never let those kids have fun. That'll be a 10-yard, or is that a 5-yard penalty against the Knights? That'll be 1st and 15. I'm sorry, the penalty goes against Burlington. It'll be 1st and 15 for the Greyhounds. Holding was a 10-yard. When I played, holding was a 10-yard penalty. Maybe it wasn't holding on the play. Was it? Oh, illegal motion was the call, hence the 5-yard penalty. Highland hands off on the play to his fullback. And that's number 27, Trent Cooperman.
Well, Burlington right now, they're in 4-down territory, so they can afford to dive inside at this point. But I think if they're going to get in the end zone at this point, they're going to have to put the ball up again. And the last pass that came back, that out and up to the Brockett kid was well executed. So Highland, I guess that's how you pronounce his name. Highland, he can throw the ball, and that's definitely in the Burlington game plan at this point. So we're going to see it again.
2nd down and 12 for the Greyhounds. Brockett in motion, and they're going to go to him into the flat. He breaks free of a tackle and gets enough for a 1st down.
And that time it was just the quick out to Brockett in motion, and he was wide open, and he turned it up, and he broke a tackle, and would have kept his balance over there. He might have went in the end zone all the way.
Just under 8 minutes to play in the first half. We have no score, but Burlington is knocking on the door. They've been moving the chains, both by their own offense and from a penalty against Assumption on the pass interference call. As the referees...
We had some type of conference down there. I don't know what they were discussing. Both teams and the referees were discussing something, but we didn't see any flags at that point.
And the chains are lined up. The ball is resting on the Assumption 17-yard line. Pro set for Burlington. And the handoff goes to the fullback. The fullback on the play, I believe, was number 27, Trent Cooperman. Cooperman picks up 3 or 4 yards on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 7 for the Greyhounds.
We got a timeout by looks like Assumption at this point.
Timeout on the play with your score: Assumption 0, Burlington 0. We'll be back in a second. 2nd down and 7 for the Greyhounds. The ball is at the Assumption 15-yard line. I formation for the Greyhounds. As Highland drops back to pass, everyone looks to be covered. He's flushed out of the pocket, tucks it away. He's looking to run the ball. Great block on the play by number 4, Kiris Cyrick.
And a good job by Highland, just scrambling back there and biding time. Good coverage by the Assumption secondary. No one open at that point.
As we were talking on the break, we're not sure if Burlington has a decent place kicker. They do have someone on the roster, but we don't know much about him. It is 3rd down and 6 for the Greyhounds. Highland is in shotgun formation. There's the snap, and the pass is intended on the play for number
Brockett.
For number 82, Jeff Brockett, and it looks like he dropped the ball. It was in his hands for a second, and he just couldn't hang on. Number 1, John Garvin, on the stop for the Knights, deflecting the ball away at the last second, and it looks like they're bringing on a field goal unit on 4th down.
Yeah, that would have been a tremendous catch by Brockett. The ball was well thrown, actually in a double coverage, and
it was the old fade pattern to the corner of the end zone. As number 47, Gunnar Bauer, is in to try the 30-yard field goal. Ball is spotted on the right hash mark. He'll be kicking from right to left. The snap, the hold, the kick is up, and it looks like it is good. No referees in the end zone. And there's our first points of the night, a 30-yard field goal by Gunnar Bauer. Your score was 6:26 to play. Burlington 3, Assumption 0. A little bit of a surprise going on, Coach.
Yeah, this is a little bit of a surprise. These Burlington kids giving the Knights all they can have.
The Greyhounds came to play tonight, Saturday night. What a great night to be out at the stadium. Newly refurbished Brady Street Stadium. Brand new carpet down for the 1998 season. All thanks to the friends from Brady Street Stadium.
Impressive kick by the Burlington kicker, too, Gunnar Bauer. I mean, that is very impressive. And with a name like Gunnar Bauer...
he sounds like a kicker.
Yeah, he sounds like a
Sounds like a foreign kicker.
But a very, very impressive leg on the young man.
And oddly enough, he is not the kickoff or the punter for Burlington. Doing the kickoffs, number 84, Jason Highland. Back deep for Assumption, number 4, Ben Schrader. And we'll see what the Knights, we'll see how the Knights can respond. I believe our injured referee is still on the sidelines. You can see him sitting behind some of the Burlington players on the bench. His leg, it looks to be his left leg is up on the bench.
Some type of strain or pull or some kind of sprained knee of some sort, we seem to think.
If you noticed on that field goal, there weren't the customary 2 referees underneath the goalposts. Both referees hung out along the line of scrimmage.
Well, during the game, I think the injured referee is a back judge, if I'm not mistaken. So there's going to be some additional loose play in the middle of the field in the defensive secondary.
As Lee Russell calls off Schrader for the ball, he brings it up the middle. And he gets a fine return out to the Assumption 30-yard line. That's where the Knights will start with 6:20 to play until halftime. I'm venturing a guess that Assumption has not trailed in a game yet this year.
No, they haven't. They've been up. And so this is a little different situation for the Knights.
They are ranked in the top 10 of the Iowa Class 4A poll. I believe they were ranked number 6. I think was the ranking this last week. Might have been number 5. And some movement in the backfield. Penalty flags on the play. Handoff to Russell. I believe Russell was the one that was moving. Offsides against the offense. That'll move Assumption back 5 yards. It'll be 1st and 15 for the Knights with the ball at their own 25-yard line.
Burlington's really have the Assumption offense kind of off its game at this point. They've really stacked the line of scrimmage and taken away the run, and you just keep daring them to throw the ball.
Number 21 for the Knights, Matt Furlong, is the backup quarterback. He's the one signaling in the calls. Or he might be using a dummy too. I think it's Coach Kaz is also signaling in. And the Knights are mixed up on the play. They'll take a timeout, and so will we.
Yeah, Pete, what are you doing?
1st and 15 for the Knights. Luke Carney under center. He drops back and holds the ball a little too long. He's sacked on the play by Burlington's number 50, Brian Albert.
And good defense by the Burlington Greyhounds that time. That time he tried to hit the quick hitter to the quick slant to the receiver at the top of the field. Burlington defensive back just came and jammed him and just would not release him.
It's going to be 2nd down and 18 for the Knights. They lose 3 yards on the sack by Brian Albert. of the Greyhounds. Double wing formation, split end to the short side of the field for the Knights as the pass intended for number 81 falls incomplete. That's John Furry.
Pass was intended for number 81, John Fury.
John Fury, the intended receiver, just goes off of his fingertips, can't hang on to the ball. That'll force Assumption to a 3rd and long situation. Another interesting call from Coach Kaz. In the past, he's elected just to give it to Russell up the middle. Carney under center. As the handoff this time goes to number 4, Ben Schrader. Schrader is stopped in the backfield as the Burlington crowd gives its sign of approval to the Greyhound defense.
Is impressive.
Very impressive. Holding Assumption to a 3 and out.
On the play by number 19.
And this is going to give the Greyhounds great field position again once this punt goes off. Okay. Key now again is we've seen the Burlington receiver, the deep back's going to have to catch this punt. Last couple times they've let it roll and drop, and they've lost some field position.
Assumption shifts into its punting formation. The snap and the kick is partially blocked. And Burlington will take over at the Assumption 32-yard line. The punt by Russell was partially blocked on the play. Quite a turn of events tonight here at Brady Street Stadium with 4:31 to play until halftime.
These Burlington kids have come to play.
Burlington definitely has the upper hand and has outplayed the Knights in the first half. Jesse Highland this time under center. He'll hand off to the wingback number 4, Karasaric. He is met hard on the play by the Knights number 1, John Garvin.
And Lee Russell on the stunt that time.
And Lee Russell.
Yeah, Assumption had a stunt that time. They sent the Russell middle linebacker kid in, and he with Garvin just smothered that play.
Burlington loses about 5 yards on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 15 for the Greyhounds. The ball resting on the right hash mark on the far side of the field at the 35-yard line. Highland under center, drops back to pass. Oh, it's almost picked off on the play by the Knights, number 17, Matt Fitzpatrick. And Fitzpatrick would have been gone on the play only if he would have held on to the ball.
He would have been still running. But that was a long throw by Highland. And to do that quick out from that kind of distance.
Going from one hash all the way over to the other side of the field, never an easy throw for a quarterback.
No. And what it sets up, though, it sets up the out and up, which was they were successful on a previous series with.
3rd and long for the Greyhounds. Big play as Highland drops back in shotgun formation. Twin receivers to the near side of the field, and they'll go. They're going up, and that ball was almost picked off by number 21, Matt Furlong.
Well defensed by the Knights that time. They kind of rotated their secondary over there, and they actually had 3 defensive backs in the area, and Furlong almost came up with a pick.
That time Highland threw into double coverage, and Furlong,
he's kind of shaking his helmet.
Much like Fitzpatrick, probably should have come up with the interception. And it looks like Burlington will take a timeout. They'll be faced with a 4th and 14. When we come back, you're watching a Family Ties production of high school football.
But he's good. He's got good size. That's the other hand.
3:49 to play until halftime. 4th and long for Burlington. Highland under center, drops back to pass. Receiver is open on the play, number 82, Jeff Brockett. Brockett shoved out of bounds at the 20-yard line by number 17. That's Matt Fitzpatrick.
And that's going to be a first down.
Appears that Burlington has enough for a first down. The drive continues. Burlington of 1998 looking much like Muscatine of 1997 in the early part of the season.
Well, I'll tell you, Pete, right now, both those teams have good quarterbacks. Muscatine last year and now with Highland, they got kids who can throw the ball. And with Brockett and the other Highland kid, Burlington's got 2 receivers who can catch the ball. So, you know, they're going to be a force to reckon with.
1st and 10 for Burlington. The ball on the 20-yard line. Shotgun handoff draw to number 40. That's Chris Lyons. Lyons gets enough for another Burlington first down. And suddenly, Assumption doesn't seem so invincible.
Good draw, good call by the Burlington coach that time. Ran the draw.
It'll be 1st and goal for Burlington. Ball on the 8-yard line of the Knights. 2 running backs in the backfield split. Wide receiver to the short side of the field. The handoff will go to number 4. And he's going to barrel his way into the end zone. That's Karasaric. Touchdown, Burlington.
And he just bulldozed the last 2-3 yards. Just ran over a couple red shirts to get in the end zone that time.
Not even touched, going through the line of scrimmage. The Big Hogs for the Greyhounds are getting the job done, most notably number 71, Big Josh Olson, 6'2", 295 pounds. As Gunnar Bauer in to attempt the extra point. And the snap, the hold, the kick is up, and it is good. Boy, we got a shocker going on at Brady Street Stadium with 3:14 to play in the first half. Your score, Burlington 10, Davenport Assumption 0.
Burlington, number 84, Jason Highland.
We're back at Brady Street Stadium. Your score with 3:14 to play is Burlington 10, Assumption 0. Jason Highland kicks it off deep to Lee Russell. Russell has some problems fielding the ball. He's still on his feet past the 20-yard line. Not a bad return considering what happened when he tried to catch the ball. And the Knights will take over 1st and 10 from their own 23-yard line.
Well, important thing here is not to panic for the Knights. They have a long way to go with just a little over 3 minutes to go in the game. So you don't want to do anything foolish backed up against your own goal line here.
We don't want to make the Knights don't want to make any more mistakes right now, because that could put them even deeper into a hole. As Carney's still the quarterback for the Knights. He hands it off on the play to Russell. Russell picks up a couple of yards on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 6.
And you may see this Burlington defense start to back off the line of scrimmage as we get down here with less and less time in the first half. Right now, though, they're still up there playing 9-10 men fronts.
Pitch on the play to Russell. Russell has some open space, but he can't stay on his feet. And he could have been off to the races for a big gainer on that play, Coach.
Yeah, on the pitch, broke a couple tackles, and yeah, he almost hit full stride there and down the sideline. Just lost his balance at this point.
And Burlington takes a timeout. And so will we with 2:25 to play in the ball game, or in the first half. Your score, Burlington 10, Assumption 0. 1st and 10 for the Knights. Coming off one of their biggest plays from scrimmage. Back to passes. Wide open on the play is number 30, Dan McIlerney. Coach, what did we see on that play?
Well, we saw a straight fly, and the Burlington defender missed the jam at the line of scrimmage. McInerney got deep, and Carney threw a great ball.
And just like that, the Knights are back in business with the ball on the 16-yard line of Burlington. The clock is running. We are approaching 2 minutes to play until halftime. Carney gets under center with the quick pitch to Lee Russell. He's got some running room on the outside, but can't break free of the shoe tackle by number 21 for Burlington, Donnie Peterson. And the Knights take a timeout.
Well, we knew it was just a matter of time before Assumption pops one of those long pass plays. Burlington is just daring them to throw the football. And that time, the Burlington defender just missed the jam at the line of scrimmage, and it was a great ball by Carney.
Great play by the Knights. 40-yard pass completion. Luke Carney to Dan McIlerney. Gets the ball for the Knights inside of the 20-yard line of the Greyhounds, and the Knights desperately need to get something on the board before halftime, trailing 10-0. Kind of a shocker going on tonight here at Brady Street Stadium.
Well, we knew that both these teams, were impressive in their opening wins and last week games also, and so we know it was going to be a tussle. What I'm impressed with basically is how well Burlington defense is defending the Knights. Up until that last play, they've been shutting the Knights down pretty well.
As the Knights huddle up, the ball is on the Burlington 11-yard line on the right side hash. It's going to be second down and about 5 for Assumption.
I formation.
I formation. Schrader, your wingback. And Carney takes off on the bootleg. He's got some running room. Tries to avoid a couple tackles. Cuts it up the middle. And gets it inside of the 5-yard line. It'll be first and goal for Assumption. And it looks like the ball will be right on the 1-yard line. Great play by Luke Carney.
Good heads-up play by Carney that time. And the receiver was fairly covered, but Carney was out there by himself and just took off and did a heads-up job.
1 minute, 45 seconds to play until half. Burlington up 10-0, but the Knights have the ball on the Greyhound 1-yard line. Carney under center, and a foolish penalty by the Knights. It looks like the left tackle jumped off sides.
Well, that's going to hurt the Knights. Right down there, you're down in Lee Russell territory where you got a fullback that weighs 200 and some pounds, and you could pound it a couple times. But now with the penalty, it's going to push them back 5 yards. It's going to bring a different situation.
First and goal for the Knights. Instead of the ball on the 1-yard line, it's now on the 6-yard line. The ball is on the left hash. On the far side of the field, Carney under center. Drops back to pass in the flat. And his pass is completed on the play by number 87.
He's not going to be in the end zone, and he's
Quint Howell. And the clock is moving. Plenty of time for the Knights. Clock shows 1:10. It'll be second down and goal.
Well, you can get two dives into the end zone with Russell still at this point.
And I believe they still have a timeout, maybe 2. And the Knights give to Russell, and Russell is into the end zone. So with 54 seconds to play until halftime, Lee Russell caps off an impressive Davenport Assumption drive with a 1-yard dive into the end zone. Number 24 for the Knights, Chris Ewan. Looks like he's set for the extra point on the hold for the Knights. Number 21, Matt Furlong. Important kick. There's a snap to hold. The kick is up. It is good. So with 54 seconds to remaining before halftime, Davenport Assumption gets on the board. Your new score, Assumption 7, Burlington 10. Certainly the big pass play, the key to that drive. Carney to, I believe it was
McInerney.
Dan McInerney.
Yeah, that was a big play of the drive, but the pass play down by the goal line, also the quick out that just did not get in, also a key play, and then at the end, of course, you got the big fullback to just punch it over, and that was Assumption football at its best, huh?
And it looks like Ben Schrader will do the kicking off for the Knights.
Kickoff for Burlington, number 21, Donnie Peterson.
Donnie Peterson, number 21, back deep. Set to return the kickoff for Burlington.
Jeff Crockett.
alongside of Peterson, number 80. Kicks it on the ground, and the ball is still rolling until it is pounced off. At field position, the ball will be spotted 25-yard line of Burlington.
Well, that was a smart play by the Assumption kicker to just kick at that point, not give Brock the opportunity to return it. Now we got 75 yards in about 50. Football, it could get exciting.
Just yet, this first half has 51 seconds until halftime. Highland under center, he's gonna hand off the middle. To it look like, no, that's number 27, Trent Cooperman. He's brought down on the play by linebacker for the Knights, number 59, Sonny Alvarez.
And Burlington's really in no hurry here. It looks like they're just going to run out the clock at this point.
I think they
with a 10-7
I think
lead.
they like the situation that they're in, Coach. And 10-7 is not all that bad. Halfway through a game against a state-ranked opponent. As the handoff this time goes to the wingman, Karis Sarek, the same guy who scored the touchdown for the Greyhounds. And that'll close out the first half of action. It's been a good first half of football here at Brady Street Stadium as the fans come to their feet in appreciation. Your halftime score, Burlington 10, Davenport Assumption 7. We are just about ready to start the second half of action tonight from Brady Street Stadium. It's Saturday night, our featured game of the week. Burlington coming to Davenport to face the Assumption Knights. Your halftime score. We're a little bit surprised. Burlington 10, Assumption 7. I'm Pete Ivanek. We're with Coach Jeff Mandris.
Well, we're seeing a wayable football game here, Pete. You know, at
Best game I've seen all season.
You're right. It's kind of a defensive struggle, characterized by penalties and one big play by the Assumption Knight right before the end of the first half. But if the second half is any indication of how, the first half is any indication of how this game's going to go, this second half should be a whale of a game.
Ryan Schroeder's kick gets to the 20-yard line and almost creates a problem for the Burlington return team. Justin Mark, number 19, falls on the loose ball. That almost went into the hands of the Assumption kick team. I saw that happen a couple weeks ago out in a game in DeWitt where the ball bounced around and the kick team got the ball back. Right after they had scored a touchdown, 2 plays later, they put it in the end zone again. 14-point swing in 30 seconds.
Well, that's a live ball on that kickoff, and all the receiving team from Burlington knows that. They've been told by their coaches, so they pounced on the ball because they know that's a hot potato.
Jesse Highland in shotgun formation, hands off on the play to Chris Lyons.
And they run the draw on that play, and that's a play we've seen in the first half, and it's been good for Burlington. They ran it down near the goal line, and with good success.
Lyons picks up 3 yards on the play. It's going to be second down and 7.
Well, this is going to be a wide open game in this second half. One thing's for sure, Burlington's not going to stop throwing the football. And that means Assumption's going to have opportunities for their secondary people to pick it off, for their defensive line linebackers to sack that quarterback.
Highland back to pass once again. Receivers look to be all covered.
Open.
And one guy breaks away. That looks to be number 82, I believe, Jeff Brockett.
Yeah.
Number 80, Brian Furr.
Nope, correction. That's number 80, Brian Furr.
And a good patience by Highland that time. Initially, the receiver was not open. Highland rolled to his right, waited for the receiver to come open, and he just dropped it right in there for a good pass and a good reception.
That'll move the ball into Knight territory. Burlington has the ball 1st and 10 from the Assumption 48-yard line. Highland once again hands off to number 40, Chris Lyons. Lyons with a nice healthy gain up through the Assumption defense.
And Lyons becoming a little of the workhorse here for the Burlington rushing attack at this point.
It'll be 2nd down and about 4 for the Greyhounds. The Greyhounds are coached by Tom Klein. He's in his 10th year.
Tom Klein.
Tom Klein?
Klein, with a P. With a P.
Tom Klein. As the handoff once again up the middle goes to Chris Lyons, I believe.
And he's going to be very close to the 1st down.
And it looks like the referees are marking him short. It'll be 3rd down and 1
Number 59.
for the Greyhounds. Highland this time drops under center, split backfield. As the handoff quickly goes to the fullback. Once again, I believe it was number 40, number 27, Trent Cooperman.
Ball carrier number 27, Trent.
He picks up enough for a Burlington 1st down.
This has the looks of an impressive drive for Burlington at this point. That Burlington offensive line at this point is kind of pushing those red shirts back. And this drive is very impressive here in the opening minutes of the 2nd half.
High formation for the Greyhounds. The quick hitter up the middle. Once again to number 27, Trent Cooperman.
And number 43, Lee Russell on the tackle at that point.
27, Trent Cooperman.
Cooperman picks up a yard or 2 or 3 on the play.
59, Sonny Alvarez also on the tackle.
Sonny Alvarez, a member of the Knights State Championship Wrestling Squad in the wintertime. One of the best wrestling programs in the Midwest. Assumption has split backs for the Greyhounds. The give is to the wingback number 4, Kiris Sirik.
And Sirik dragging people, dragging red shirts for extra yards. At this point, the Greyhounds are in 4-down territory. That's going to bring up about a 3rd and very short, about 2 yards. And they got 2 downs to make this 1st down.
9 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. We've just started the 2nd half. Burlington is ahead of Assumption, 10-7. Big 3rd down play coming up for the Greyhounds. Maybe even more important for the Knights defense. As Highland under center, double tight end split backs. The give off goes to Lyons off of right tackle. And it'll be interesting to see where the referees spot the ball.
That time they just ran the simple lead, outside lead, and it looks like they have picked up the 1st down.
Good enough for a 1st down. Another Burlington 1st down, methodically marching it down the field against the Knights defense. Highland brings his troops to the line. Split backfield, twin receivers to the short side of the field. Highland hands the ball off, I believe, to number 27, Trent Cooperman.
Number 27, the ball carrier.
Cooperman picks up a yard or 2 on the play. It'll be 2nd down and long.
Yeah, and at this point, they're pretty content to play smash mouth football at this point with the Assumption Knights, with the exception of the one long pass. They're pounding the football down here in the Assumption defense. Second
down and 9 for the Greyhounds. As this time Highland drops back, pump fakes, the
Yep,
ball
out.
is up, and it's completed on the play to number 80, Ben Furrer. Furrer is dragged out of bounds by number 21, Matt Furlong.
Once again, we see that out and up pattern at that point. And Furrer had the Assumption defensive cornerback beat. And good ball by Highland, delivering it right before the safety came over to make tackle.
It'll be first and goal for the Greyhounds. The ball is spotted on the left hash mark on the 5-yard line of the Knights. Very impressive drive to come out of the locker room for Burlington. Highland under center. He'll hand the ball off quickly to, I believe it was Trent Cooperman. He's met hard on the play once again by Sonny Alvarez from his linebacking position.
And the going getting tough down there. This time Cooperman hopping over fallen defender and picking up a couple yards. This Burlington team has some good size in their offensive line, and also their receivers. Got nice tall receivers.
I formation, double tight end. Split end goes in motion. It's a quick pitch to Chris Lyons. He's going to walk into the end zone untouched. Great call, coach. Crack play was called, and that's where the split end comes in motion on some plays, but the crack means he goes in and he finds the first guy.
Yeah, first red shirt on the inside.
Sort of a short corner.
Yeah, that was Brock at that time in motion coming back, and we could see that coming up from the booth here. He came back, cracked down on the defensive secondary, linebacker area, and then they just ran the pitch and it was wide open.
Number 47, Gunnar Bauer, on to try the point after touchdown for the Greyhounds. The snap, the hold, the kick is up, and it's good. Again, the referees are not choosing to stand beneath the poles.
Impressive first drive for the Greyhounds at that point. I don't know what Coach Klein told them at halftime, but whatever he told them worked, because they took the ball down the field with a combination of passing, inside running, misdirection, and so forth, and very impressive by the Greyhounds at that point.
That drive took almost half of the time in the third quarter. There is 6:42 to play until we start the fourth quarter, and Burlington regains their 10-point lead. Your new score, Burlington 17, Assumption 7. Number 84 for Burlington, Jason Highland, is set to kick it off. Lee Russell and Ben Schrader back deep for the Knights.
They've been kicking to Russell here on the kickoffs, and that seems to be their strategy at that point. They probably believe he's not going to be able to take the distance, but this time we have
Schroeder comes over, and he's going to take it straight up the middle and breaks a couple tackles, turns the corner, still on his feet to the 40-yard line. Fine return by Assumption's number 4, Ben Schrader. Ben's a 6'1" to 185-pound senior. Started up the middle, broke to the side, found some daylight, and Assumption sitting pretty. The ball on their own 40-yard line to start their first series of the second half. Luke Carney under center. He'll hand it off straight ahead on the give play to it looked like Lee Russell again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, running the straight dive there to Russell at this point. And once again, Burlington up tight on the line of scrimmage. 9-10 men up on the all within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. And once again, they're daring the Assumption Knights to throw the football.
Second down on the way for Assumption. Second down and 6 to go for the first down. Ball is at the 44-yard line of the Knights.
We saw some boot action by the quarterback on that last play, and
three-step drop, and the pass is once again completed on the play to number 30. Dan McInerney.
Yeah, that's the same play we saw right before the end of the second half that was wide open. McInerney once again getting loose in the secondary, and Kearney throwing a nice ball out in front. McInerney just ran underneath it and making the reception. And that's going to be there at that point. You know, Burlington's giving them that.
That'll move the ball into Burlington territory. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Knights. As Kearney hands off to Russell, straight eye dive play up the middle.
Carrier number 43, Lee Russell.
Russell picks up a short gain on 1st down.
Well, this is an important drive for the Knights. They have to, you know, establish some offensive presence again at this point and get back into the game again. Not that they're out of it, but the fact that, you know, they want to answer that scoring drive by Burlington.
And Lee Russell has taken himself out of the ball game. Looks like he might have a cut open up on his hand. The Assumption manager appears to be taping it up.
Well, they're going to try to get that guy back in the game as soon as possible.
It's 2nd down and 6 for the Knights. And the handoff on the play goes to look like number 6. We'll see as they unpile. No, it was number 5. That's Joe Bradley.
Ball carrier number 5, Joe Bradley.
Bradley close to a 1st down. It'll be 3rd down and very short for the Knights as the attendants continue to work on Russell's hand on the sidelines. Tight formation, I formation, 2 tight ends lined up.
Penalty markers are down.
As penalty markers fly on the play, someone jumped off sides, and it looks like it'll go against Burlington. Encroachment against the defense. That'll give the Knights a easy 1st down as big number 43, Lee Russell, reports back into the lineup for the Knights. Replacing Lee Russell for the last 2 plays was number 7, Mike Miller. First and 10 for Assumption. They have the ball inside of the Burlington 20-yard line. The ball is at the Burlington 18-yard line. As Kearney, under center, barks out the signals. On the counter play, hands the ball off once again. I believe that might have been Joe Bradley.
They had McInerney isolated out on the top side at this point, you know, maybe possibly setting up some type of a pass play, because he seems to be the go-to guy at this point when the Knights put the ball in the air.
Could be seeing a fade play coming up.
Yeah, this is a good opportunity for the fade at this point.
2nd and long.
And it's been given Burlington a difficult time of it at this point.
Clint Howell split out to the near side of the field, and they're going to run the fade to Howell. And the pass is up, and pass interference will be called against Burlington.
Yeah, that time the Burlington defensive back clearly beat and face guarding the Assumption Knight receiver at this point. That should be a 1st down.
Quinn Howell was the intended receiver on the fade play that coach called. That'll give the Knights a 1st and goal with the ball on the Burlington 9-yard line. We have 3:22 to play here in the 3rd quarter. Your score is Burlington 17, Assumption 7. But the Knights look like they're primed to get back into the end zone, as they did at the end of the 2nd quarter. Tight formation, eye backs. Kearney hands off to the halfback, number 43. Looked like there could have been a fumble on the play. That was Lee Russell, I believe, the running back for the Knights. And he didn't get much. Looks like he picked up a yard on the play.
Yeah, with that tight offensive formation, that just crowds everybody, the defenders, offenders, into a small area, and that's tough running at that point. There was a fumble on the play, I believe, wasn't there? Yeah, Knights got it back, however.
2nd down and goal. Russell, your lone running back. As Kearney rolls out to the far side of the field and just can't quite hook up with the intended receiver, number 87, Quentin Howell. Howell trying for the diving catch in the corner of the end zone.
And it was open. It was open at that point. Kearney just a little bit, rushed a little bit, just misfired.
And that'll leave the Knights with a big third down play. Third and goal from the 9-yard line.
And now we're starting to wonder, too, if the Knights do fail on this third down, we're going to see the Assumption Knights field goal team onto the field.
Same formation, double wing back. Russell, your lone fullback. Joe Bradley in motion for the Knights. And it's the quarterback keeper all the way. And that's going nowhere. Kearney is dropped for a loss all the way back at the 13-yard line. Decision time for Coach Kaz. It'll be fourth down and goal. The ball is on the 12-yard line of Burlington. And looks like he's gonna go for it.
Yeah.
He's going for broke. The clock is moving. We are at the 2-minute mark in the third quarter.
Well, down by 10 at that point, you wonder if it would be wise to maybe kick a field goal at this point. But Coach Kazmarek knows his personnel better than we do. So this is his decision, and we're going to see what the Knights have to offer here.
As Kearney drops back to pass, he's got a receiver open in the end zone. That's a touchdown Assumption. The receiver was number 30, I believe. Dan McElherney, his third catch of the night, might be his biggest one for the Knights.
And yeah, McElherney is developing into a thorn into the Burlington Greyhound side, and he's coming up with big plays.
And
big
it looks
plays.
like Joe Bradley, number 5 for the Knights, is coming off the field with his arm dangling. He could be hurt. We'll have to watch him. As in to attempt the extra point, number 24, Chris Ewan. He connected on an extra point attempt earlier. There's a snap to hold the kick, and it is up and good. With 1:44 to play in the third quarter, Assumption answers Burlington on the touchdown. Your new score, Burlington 17, Assumption 14. Coach, we've had 2 series here in the third quarter. Both have eaten up a lot of time on the clock, and both have gone for touchdowns.
And both sparked by big passing plays at this point.
We've got a barn burner tonight at Brady Street Stadium. Beautiful night for a ball game, Saturday night. A little bit of a breeze, not a cloud in the sky.
Well, these two teams, you can see very easily why they are top contenders in the MAC conference at this point.
Both teams coming in with a 2-0 record. The Knights are rated in 4A in the top 10. Burlington definitely gaining some respect in the conference tonight. You know that just about every other coach is probably on hand tonight. Getting a look at the Knights and the Greyhounds.
Well, there's a lot of football to go still with the season, rest of the season to come, and you know, football coaches have an opportunity to scout the opposition. They're going to be here.
Ben Schroeder set to kick off for the Knights. Wobbly looking liner. Looks like Trent Cooperman, number 27. On the return, nope, that was number 21. Donnie Peterson for Burlington as we approach the end of the third quarter. Burlington will take over 1st and 10 from their own 35-yard line.
Well, we're seeing both offenses kind of opening up where first half was dominated by defense. This looks like it's going to be an offensive half.
Burlington quarterback Jesse Highland brings the Greyhounds up to the line of scrimmage as the handoff goes on the play to number 4, Karis Sirik. Sirik had a touchdown earlier for the Greyhounds.
What kind of spy you giving out? Assumption fan, a little happy with the spot.
With our lack of officiating crew, we are down to 4 officials. We started the game with 5. One of them was injured. And officials timeout with 1:37 to play as number 7, Mike Miller, comes off of the field for the Knights. might have some clock problems as Coach Kaz looks like he's calling up
For 4 seconds, 5 seconds.
4 or 5 seconds to be put back on the clock. Guy that's running the clock maybe has something more important to do after the game, would like to get out of here
Actually, they took 4 off.
a little
Took
quicker.
4 off.
Second down and long for the Greyhounds. Highland drops back to Glass. He's looking deep. Oh, and the pass is completed on the play to number 82, Jeff Brockman. Great pass, great catch by the Greyhounds, and that's tonight what they've done best.
These Burlington receivers are impressive, and with Highland throwing the football, the Greyhounds continue to move the chains.
First and 10 for the Greyhounds inside of Assumption territory.
That out and up pattern has been open all night for the Greyhounds, and they've been hitting it on a regular note.
Ball resting on the Assumption 38-yard line as Highland brings his troops to the line. Split backs, wingman and split end to the far side of the field. And the handoff goes to number 4, Kiris Sarek.
Ball carrier number 4, Kiris Sarek.
And Sarek picks up
Stop by number 50.
5 or 6 yards on the play. Exactly 1 minute to play in the third quarter. Your score is Burlington 17, Assumption 14. It's been a whale of a third quarter. Both teams have had the ball once and scored with it. This is Burlington's second drive of the quarter. As Highland's pass falls incomplete. Looked like the Knights, Ben Schrader had another chance for an interception, but
Yeah,
I
and
don't
Highland,
think he saw it.
well, yeah, Highland got drilled on that
Highland
play,
did get
too,
drilled.
But, you know, that was one of the few times we've seen Highland kind of miscue on that, and just slightly overthrowing the receiver. And Assumption, defensive back, just didn't have a good eye on the ball. He had an opportunity to pick that off and failed to see the ball.
3rd and 5 for the Greyhounds. Highland under center. He drops back to pass, and the short out pattern is completed to number 80 on the play. It looks like Ben Furrer has enough for the first down.
Number 80, Brian Fuhrer.
And Fuhrer does, as the referee signals for the chains to be moved. 1st and 10 for Burlington, having no problems moving the ball
17, Matt Fitzpatrick.
on Assumption, as Assumption's defensive coach is Wade King. Goes out on the field to talk to the Knights. We'll take a break in the action. Your score after your score with 30 seconds to go in the third quarter. Burlington 17, Assumption 14. First and 10 for the Greyhounds. The ball is at the Assumption 26-yard line. Well, handed off up the middle to the fullback, I believe that was 27, Trent Cooperman. Once again, the ball carrier for Burlington. He picks up a couple of yards on the play.
Burlington doing a really good job mixing it up at this play with the dives, the misdirection, the passing at this point.
I believe that last play will close out the third quarter. Burlington is content on waiting until the quarter ends, as it does. So your score after 3 quarters is Burlington 17, Assumption 14. For the start of the fourth quarter, I'm Pete Ivanek with Coach Jeff Manders. And Mr. Heinlein of Burlington's pass that time is broken up on the play by Lee Russell, also number 73, defensive lineman for Assumption, in on the play.
Yeah. Burlington tried to hit the quick slant to the wideout receiver that time, and the Assumption defensive back just jammed him at the line of scrimmage.
Not a bad
and
call
just took
on
that
second
away.
down. That'll move Burlington to a big third down play, 3rd and 7 for the Greyhounds. The ball is sitting on the Assumption 24-yard line. I formation, wing back to the right side, along with the split end for Burlington. Man comes in motion, bootleg, and a pass is completed on the play to the intended receiver.
Going to be short.
Who will be short on the first down. I believe the receiver was number... Penalty flags on the play. And the call went against
Burlington. Yeah, was it a hold? Legal procedure. Well, that's going to give Burlington a down overall, so
they'll get another chance,
and
but they have to go a little bit farther this time.
well, they're in 4-down territory at that point, but they do have a field goal kicker that has kicked a field goal already, so we may see him again. Be a long field goal at this point, but we'll see what happens after this next play.
11:30 to play in the ball game. Your score is Burlington 17, Assumption 14, and the Bulldogs are driving in Assumption territory. Split backfield for the Greyhounds. Looks like a passing set, and great rush by Lee Russell on the play, but number 79 for Assumption, Elliot Schwind, is the one who cleans it up for the Knights. Big loss on the play. That'll move things to 4th down, and it looks like the Greyhounds are going to be forced to punt.
Well, the Burlington did not pick up that stunt by the middle linebacker Russell at this point, and he blasted it up through there and harassed Highland and didn't make the tackle, but the pursuit then ran him down. And that's going to take him out of field goal range. You're going to put him in a punting situation at this point.
Jason Highland in to punt for the Greyhounds. Back deep for Assumption. Looks like number 4, Ben Schrader, as Highland looks like he's got a little bit too much on the kick. The ball hits at the goal line and goes into the back of the end zone.
So the Assumption defense stiffens and forces a Burlington punt at that point. And now we're going to get an opportunity to see if the Knights can march 80 yards for a score.
Luke Carney trots back out on the field with this Knight offensive unit. They'll have the ball 1st and 10 at their own 20-yard line. 80 yards to Pater. They're down by 3 with 10:38 to play in the ball game. Handoff on the play for the Knights is Lee Russell. Russell is stopped at the line of scrimmage. He doesn't pick up anything on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 10 for the Knights, and Assumption will stick to their ground game. Carney once again hands the ball off. I believe it was Russell, the ball carrier.
Ball carrier number 43.
Well, that's going to bring up a passing situation here. And so far, the go-to man in passing situations has been McInerney at this point. And I think the Burlington coach is going to try to cover him on this one very carefully.
McInerney is lined up at the near side tight end position as Carney dips under center. And he keeps the ball on the bootleg. And the pass is almost intercepted by number 21, Donnie Peterson. It slips right through his hands. Carney took a pretty good shot on the play on the bootleg.
So Assumption goes 3 and out and forces Burlington forces a punt, and Burlington is going to get the ball back in good field position at this point.
Not a very impressive series for Assumption. The First two plays go for 0 yards.
Yeah, and the Burlington defense just clogging up those running lanes, and really rose to the challenge. Had a good defensive stance at that point.
As Lee Russell drops back to punt, another heavy rush. Russell's punt to line drive, taken by Donnie Peterson. Peterson is met and thrown back by number 81, John Fury. Also in on the play, number 59, Sonny Alvarez, and number 52 for the Knights, Justin Hignite. And the Bulldogs will take over in Assumption territory with the ball on the Knights' 49-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Bulldogs. We have 9 minutes, 27 seconds to play in the ball game.
This has just been a dandy of a high school football game.
Here's score, Burlington 17, Assumption 14. The pitch goes to Chris Lyons, sweeping off of the left side end. Lyons picks up about 7 yards on the play.
Ball carrier number 40, Chris Lyons.
Good looking first down play for the Greyhounds as they elect to go with the pitch on the outside.
Yeah, number 79, Elliot Manuel getting up, or Elliot Schwint getting really slow for Assumption at this point.
Maybe the heat is starting to take its toll.
It's got to be pretty warm down on that AstroTurf.
Even though it is night out, it's still hot out. And that ball carrier for Burlington is stopped dead in his tracks at the line of scrimmage. It looked like Trent Cooperman, the ball carrier for the Greyhounds.
Number 77, Manuel Ware, doing the job for the Knights at that point. And this is going to bring up a big 3rd down. 3rd and about 5. And
as the Assumption fans begin to become a little bit more vocal, Jesse Highland
passing formation here
brings the Greyhounds up to the line of scrimmage, and the handoff is to Sirik.
Fumble.
And that fumble might have taken place after the play had been ruled dead. So Burlington will regain possession, but it'll be 4th down. What do you do, Coach? Do you go for it?
Well, the spot's going to be about a 4th and about 2.5, maybe 3, almost 3. It looks like Burlington's going to punt.
Punting unit onto the field. Number 4, Ben Schrader, goes back deep for Assumption. Well, the punter for Burlington has had a pretty good night.
Well, I'd like to pin him inside the 20 here.
Jason
Last time he rolled out of the end zone at this point. Burlington short one player, coming on the field slow, number 19.
As Highlands punt, good punt, and it'll roll into the end zone for the 3rd time tonight. Highland fails on his attempts.
Well, Highland's punt has that end-over-end spin, and it just keeps rolling forward. Somehow he needs to develop some backspin on it, and we can pin the Knights down at that point, but inside that 20.
So Assumption will take over 1st and 10 at their own 20-yard line. Once again, your score, Burlington 17, Assumption 14. We have 7:17 to play in the ball game. Quite an exciting fair tonight. Fans certainly getting their money's worth.
These are 2 good football teams we're watching here, and they're going to give a lot of other teams in the MAC conference a lot of tough games.
Quick pitch goes to Lee Russell. Russell decides to change his field and doesn't pick up much. Probably didn't get back to the line of scrimmage on the play, as Russell's a little slow to get up.
Good swarming defense by Burlington that time. All night
Russell's limping, and that's exactly what the Knights didn't want to see, as he goes to a knee on the turf. And the referees will have to stop the clock for the Assumption trainers to come out and check him out. He's trying to walk under his own power. Looks like he might have gotten rolled over on in the pile, but it looks like he's going to be okay. I guarantee you that he will be back into the lineup just as quick as he can. But he might be in a great deal of pain as he just goes to the sidelines and lays down on his back.
Well, he's a pretty tough competitor. I'd be real surprised if he's not back in there within a couple plays.
And Lee Russell has been kept pretty much in check tonight, not having any big, long runs for the Knights as we're accustomed to seeing. As Carney drops back to pass, and he is hammered on the play.
And once again, the Burlington defense rising to the occasion with number 19, Justin Mark, making the tackle at that point.
And Mark is still down on the play. It looks like he hurt himself on the hard hit that he applied to Kearney.
Was it Mark or it's someone else, actually? Who is it?
And it looks like time for us to take another break. Your score, midway through the fourth quarter, Burlington 17, Assumption 14. Vince King was the injured Burlington Greyhound. He walks off under his own power. It's 3rd and about 20 for the Knights, it seems. As Kearney dips under center, he'll roll out, and he's under pressure again. He heaves the ball long. And the pass goes incomplete. Pretty well defended on the play by, it looked like Donnie Peterson.
Yeah, a good position by Donnie Peterson.
Pass was intended for number 17, Matt Fitzpatrick. And once again, the Knights are held 3 and out. Things not looking good for the Assumption Knights.
Well, still only down by 3, but what's hurting the Knights right now is field position at this point. They got a long way to go in what's getting to be a shorter and shorter amount of time. New punter back for the Knights, number 84, Pete Corin.
As Corin's punt is bobbled by number 82, Jeff Brockett. But boy, Burlington's got great field position. As the ball will be spotted at the Knights' 37-yard line with 6:02 to play. It's crunch time for the Greyhounds and the Knights.
Well, Burlington would like to keep the ball on the ground and grind some clock here, but their offense dictates that they got to throw the ball. With a senior quarterback like Highland, Burlington's still going to put the ball up. They're not going to, change your game plan that much, even with the clock running down at this point.
Highland under center, I formation. The quick pitch goes to Chris Lyons. Lyons met in the backfield by number 1, John Garvins. He slips away from the tackle of Garvin, but Lee Russell is right there to clean up.
Well, it's good to see Lee Russell back in the game. Lee must have turned an ankle, twisted the knee, and he was out for about 3 plays in the last offensive series. It's good to see that he's back in there.
Lyons loses one on the carry. It'll be 2nd down and 11 for the Greyhounds. As Highland in the passing set for the Greyhounds, split backs. He'll drop back to pass, pump fakes, and it's open on the play. Is number, I believe, 80 on the play. That was Brian Furr once again coming up with a big play. Defending him was Ben Schrader, and Schrader got turned around. His back was to the quarterback.
And these Burlington receivers, once again, keep coming up with big catches, big catches. They're impressive. They're tall, lanky kids, with the exception of Brockett, who shows tremendous speed. These Burlington receivers get good hands and good size.
1st and 10 for Burlington. The ball is spotted on the 14-yard line of the Knights. The Greyhounds are driving. Split backfield passing set once again, and this time they hand it off. So I believe it was Lyons once again. He's met by Lee Russell, guess who? And I think Sonny Alvarez too, number 59.
Well, it's getting down to crunch time at this point. With under 5 minutes to go in the game, at this point the Knights either going to stop Burlington or it's going to be real difficult.
One of these two teams will walk away from the turf at Brady Street Stadium with a hard-earned victory. One of them will go to 3-0 in the conference, all at the top, tied with Bettendorf, and the other will fall in the middle of the pack, 2-1. New twist out of the formation from Burlington as the pass is completed on the play, and Jeff Brockett will slide into the end zone. upset is a brewing here at Brady Street as Muscatine gets into the end zone with 4:24 to play in the ball game, and these Assumption fans are looking a little stunned.
Yeah, quick slant to Brockett at that point, and Highland just delivered the ball. Matt Fitzpatrick was in the area, but Brockett just kind of plucked it away from him, sprinting in the end zone. Made a good play, good catch, good throw, good play.
Gunnar Bauer in to try the all-important extra point. And the snap, the hold, the kick is up, and it looks like it bends around the pole. The kick is good. Your score with 4:24 to play in the ball game. Burlington 24, the Assumption Knights 14. Coach, we saw a bit of a twist out of the play. They were in the pro set formation, but the wingback took off for the sidelines in motion, and he turned up and into the back of the end zone, and the split end on that side went ahead and ran the slant pattern, and he was untouched as he made his way into the end zone.
Well, the quick slant, it was a great ball by Highland at that point. He really zipped it in there, and Brockett made an outstanding catch, just taking it away from the Assumption defensive back. But as we were talking earlier, we said Burlington's not going to go away from their game plan. They're going to still put the ball up in the air because that's part of their offense. That's what they're going to believe in. Even only 4 minutes to go in the game, they're still going to do what they think they do best. And with Jesse Highland quarterbacking, it's throwing the ball.
And that's what the Knights haven't been too effective in doing, is throwing the ball. They have completed a couple of long pass plays.
Well, on this next drive, they're going to be forced.
Team.
Yeah, they want to run the football with Lee Russell as their main focus.
And they haven't been able to do that tonight.
And
effectively.
No. Burlington's giving them all kinds of trouble with 9 and 10 man
Lee Russell has the ball, and he makes a mistake. He puts his knee on the turf. Who knows what could have happened on that play? But the Knights will take over at their own 16-yard line with 4 minutes, 22 seconds to play in the ball game. Your score, Burlington 24, Assumption 14. As Luke Carney remains in the game at quarterback for the Knights.
Well, you should see the Burlington defense starting to loosen up just a little bit with all this much time remaining on the game.
Quick pitch goes to Ben Schrader, and he doesn't get much. As the Assumption fans seem to be getting a little anxious. And hurry up offense, no huddle for the Knights. The clock is running. We are at the 4-minute mark to play in the game, and it looks like everybody does have a sheet somewhere tucked in their pants that they were looking at.
Well, they got to score twice in the next 4 minutes.
And the bootleg by Carney, he rolls out. An open receiver on the play is Quentin Howell. And Quint makes another diving attempt at the ball, but just can't come up with it.
For number 87, Quint Howell.
And just like that, 3rd and long for the Knights.
And things are starting to get a little desperate for the Knights at this point.
Sense of urgency on the side of the Knights. They're down by 10. We have 3:46 to play in the ball game. High formation for Assumption as Carney once again rolls out as he sets up and throws the ball
McInerney.
deep. Man, it is intercepted on the play by number 80. That's Brian Furr.
McInerney had a step on the defender. The ball was just underthrown at that point.
Underthrown. And Burlington will take over in Assumption territory with the ball at the Assumption 48-yard line with 3:36 to play in the ball game. Things are looking good for the Greyhounds.
Yeah, one more score, one more nail in the coffin here for the Knights.
Highland hands off to number 27 on the play, Trent Cooperman, as it looks like the Greyhounds are content with doing a couple run plays, time off the clock.
They like to grind them here a little bit on the ground.
You gotta wonder when Assumption
clock.
will start using their timeouts try and stop the clock. Highland dips under center once again. This is a passing formation, split backfield. Nope, he hands the ball off to, might have been number 40, Chris Lyons. And Assumption will use its first timeout. That'll stop the clock with 2:50 to play in the game. Your score, Burlington 24, Assumption 14. 2:50 to play in the ball game. It is 3rd down and 6 for Burlington. The quick pitch goes to Chris Lyons on the play. Lyons is going to be stopped short of the first down marker by Sonny Alvarez.
Ball carrier number 40, Chris Lyons.
It'll be 4th down.
Brought down by number 59, Sonny Alvarez.
And Burlington misses a good opportunity to get the first down.
Well, on that series, it was obvious the Burlington coaching staff main goal was to just eat up some clock and keep the ball on the ground.
And
Don't
the clock
fumble
is moving right now. Burlington doesn't look like they're going to do anything with it. Maybe
take a penalty.
Maybe they'll take a penalty and move the ball back.
Nope, timeout.
As Burlington calls a timeout of their own with 2:11 to play in the ball game. Your score is Burlington 24, Assumption 14.
They're just running.
Jason Highland in to punt for the Burlington Greyhounds. It is 4th down and 3. There's the snap and the punt. It's a low liner.
No.
As Ben Schrader calls for the fair catch at his own 6-yard line. I think that's a mistake.
Yeah, at that point, might have been best to just let the ball roll into the end zone.
And run with it.
Especially the low trajectory on that one, there's probably a darn good chance that it would roll into the end zone. But
being a former special teams coach myself, you tell the kid to stand on the 10-yard line. If the ball goes over your head, don't worry about it. Get the heck out of the way.
Well, things just haven't been going the Knights' way this game, and that's just one miscue that happened again.
Luke Carney. And there's our screenplay we were talking about on the break.
Oh.
And the pass is completed on the play to number 30, Dan McInerney.
Clock's still running with about just under 1:50 to go in the game.
Things don't look good for the Knights.
Knights trying to run their hurry-up offense.
No huddle. And all the linemen are looking at their play sheets.
Well, that's
almost
a new
looks
twist.
like a peewee game. As Carney drops back, passes it, takes a big shot on the play. He's slow to get up.
Pass was intended for number 87.
Number 87, Quinn Howell, the intended receiver. Pass goes incomplete. And once again, quickly right away. Third and 5 for the Knights of Assumption. Minute 27 to play in the ball game. And the Assumption Knights backs against the wall. 3rd and 5. Desperately need a big play. Carney rolls out, sets up. Pass is completed on the play. It looked like it was to number 7. Mike Miller, backup fullback. Miller has enough for the first down. The clock stops for a brief second to move the chains. The ball will be spotted at the Assumption 34-yard line. And the clock is put in motion by the referee. And Assumption is ready at the line of scrimmage to call their next play as Carney dips under center. Miller in motion, and that play's going nowhere. They tried the bootleg to the other side. You pretty much know what's coming.
Yeah, the Assumption passing game, the whole game has been a perimeter type game with Carney rolling out either left or right. That time the Burlington defense just corralled them and sacked them. And Assumption's going to take another timeout here.
Brought down by number 55, Vince King. Timeout Knights.
With 58 seconds to go, it looks like Burlington will be at the top of the MAC conference with Bettendorf. Both teams 3-0, and they play each other next week, or is it the week after?
You're asking me for a schedule right now. I don't have it in front of me, Coach. But that's going to bring a big showdown between Bettendorf and Burlington, and they're going to stack up. They're going to stack up well. Burlington's awfully big, have good skill people in their quarterback, the one receiver Eisenhower. That's going to be a good game.
And of course, Bettendorf, the storied tradition of the Bulldogs. They've been there, they've done that.
But this game, Burlington playing outstanding defense at this point, looking like a very good defensive club, limiting the Knights to 2 touchdowns at this point, and really kind of shutting down the Knights' running game.
Second down, Kearney's pass is incomplete on the play, dropped by number 30, Dan McIlerney. He was having a great game up until that point.
Well, he's made some big plays for the Knights all night long, and that time he just tried to run before he caught the ball. But
who knows? Might have been a better thing that the clock is stopped. McIlerney had a defender 5 yards from him.
From the sidelines, it's a good chance he might not even gone out of bounds. But the Knights just have a long way to go at this point. And
third and 16 for the Knights. We got 53 seconds to play in the ball game. Burlington is ahead 24-14. Luke Kearney under center, stays in the pocket, and the receiver looked like he was held up on the play, and the late penalty flag is thrown on the play by the side judge. McIlerney was doing a little fade fly pattern up the sideline.
Well, at this point, that's a pretty smart play by the Burlington defender.
Why not try it again?
Yeah, but a smart play by the Burlington defender. At this point, you just don't want to give up a touchdown. So what if they get a first down off a pass interference? Move the ball down the field 15 yards and make them snap it again with just under 50 seconds to go in the game, and that's exactly what's going to happen. You know, the secondary for Burlington now finally have backed off and playing a more traditional, deeper type secondary. All game long, they were packed in there so tight to take away the Assumption running game, and that's what their goal was, and that's what they did a good job at.
2 wide receivers on the play for the Knights. Double wing back. Kearney steps up in the pocket, wings the ball down the sideline. His pass falls incomplete, intended on the play for number 87, Quint Howell.
Good coverage by Donnie Peterson, running stride for stride with the Assumption receiver. There's no way that pass was going to get completed.
The clock is stopped on the incompletion. It'll be second down and 10 for the Knights. 44.6 seconds remain in the ball game. Burlington clinging to a 10-point lead.
And this is going to be an upset. You know, Burlington probably didn't come into the season with such high regard as Assumption did. Assumption being kind of a perennial contender, conference champ over the years. And Burlington, though, came to play, took away the Assumption running game, and made some big plays via the pass and also via the run.
As number 50 for the Greyhounds, Brian Albert records another sack on the night. Big 8-yard loss. It'll be third down, and Kearney is forced to spike the ball. The clock was running. There's 22.3 seconds remaining, but it's fourth down for the Knights. This one's
about over with.
This one is about over with.
About over with. I think at this point, you know, the Knights are, you know,
and for all intents and purposes, the game was pretty much over when that last touchdown was scored on the slant play.
Yeah, that was a big play for Burlington.
With just under 4 minutes to go in the fourth.
The Knights are going to be back. They got Muscatine next week, and they're going to rebound from this, and they'll come back, play hard against Muscatine.
Kearney drops back. His pass is completed on the play to number 30, Dan McIlerney. McIlerney just can't stay on his feet. He's tripped up on the play by number 84, Jason Highland. And that was fourth down. The referees were signaling for the clock to start.
He did not pick up the first down.
He didn't pick up the first down. He fell. He tripped, and he fell about 3 yards short. He had open running room if he would have stayed on his feet.
Yeah. And that would have made it a little closer.
Probably would have run the clock out.
Well, I think we would have seen a score, an extra point, and we might have seen an onside kick at that point. But he lost his balance, did not pick up the first down, and we're about 13 seconds away, 12.9 seconds from calling it quits.
Burlington will go into a 2 deep back position for the running backs. And Jesse Highland, who's played a whale of a ball game tonight for the Greyhounds, goes on one knee. And that'll do it for tonight's game. We're a little shocked up here in the booth. As the clock hits 0, your final score, Burlington 24, Assumption 14. At the top of the MAC standings is Bettendorf at 3-0 and Muscatine at 3-0. Assumption falls to 2-0. I'm sorry, not Muscatine. Burlington moves to 3-0. Coach, your final thoughts on tonight's game?
Big key, Burlington defense taken away, kind of shutting down the Assumption running game. I think that was a big key to the game. The quarterback for Burlington, Jesse Highland, having an outstanding game, completing passes to the Burlington receivers who just did an excellent job. And it was a close game, a good football game to watch. And I think both these teams definitely deserve to be on the top of the MAC conference. And there's probably a good possibility somewhere down the road in playoffs. You know, we haven't seen the end of these two teams playing each other, so we may see that to come. We'll see how the season plays out.
As the Burlington student section assembles out on the 40-yard line, a celebration has taken place for the Greyhounds.
Well, this is a big win for them,
They
Pete.
played a whale of a ball game tonight.
They know the type of program they're playing against, and that's a good victory for the Burlington Greyhounds.
And that'll just about do it for us tonight. Jess Medina, our cameraman, always doing a great job. I'm Pete Ivanek, Coach Jeff Manders. You were watching a Family Ties production. Your final score from Brady Street Stadium. Burlington 24, Assumption 14.